Little UNC versus Duke talk on this rainy Saturday. You are locked into the rundown. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson. Johnny O and Rod Thunderbird in the house. Intern Aaron in here shooting this segment. Sawyer Dillon, our producer extraordinaire, man in the wheels of steel. This segment brought to you by Giada's Trattoria. Giada's Trattoria restaurant, Kernersville on Main Street, with their signature stone oven, culture of hospitality, and North Carolina's best pizza. Giada's lets you and your family and friends share an authentic Italian experience with a twist. Everything is better by the stone oven at Giada's. So we're going to get right into the hate, because that's what today's really all about. the hatred that one side has for the other and vice versa. And really, the North Carolina-Duke rivalry has turned more from the players and the coaches to the fans. Like, the fans have taken over this rivalry where it's year-round. I admin a couple of UNC Duke groups on Facebook. I've been poking the bear a little bit this week. Not too much, because I've learned my lesson off of one of the guys that's actually on my list of most hated players in this rivalry. But I've learned not to talk too much smack before we go into a game that we should win.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll start this off then, based off of that. 2012, Austin Rivers broke my heart. Carolina had one of the top teams in the country. They were steamrolling towards a rematch with Kentucky and Anthony Davis for the national championship. They were literally 1-2 all year. If you remember, Carolina and Kentucky played in that December, and it came down to a last-second shot. John Henson got blocked by Anthony Davis at the very end of the game, and Kentucky won by like 1 or 2 points. That game, Carolina led the whole time. The sequence at the end was weird. Tyler Zeller accidentally tipped the ball in for Duke. I believe tied it at that point.
Yep.
And then at the very end, Austin Rivers just hits this dagger three that haunts my dreams to this day, and they end up winning that contest in the Dean Dome.
He was falling out of bounds.
He was, and it was pure. Like, the shot was pure. But like, the reason why, it's not so much of that shot, although it's one of the best shots in this rivalry. Back then on my Facebook, you could actually post to my wall. Like, you could come in and say, hey, that's what's going on, blah, blah, blah. When I woke up that next morning, I think it was a Sunday, first of all, I didn't want to go to work. Like, I felt so sick that because of the way they lost, I did not want to go to work. But I opened up my Facebook, and I literally had about 400 posts on my wall from people I haven't spoke to since the 5th grade.
Wow.
Former coworkers, former managers of mine, like just people that like Duke. And like what would happen was the Duke fans, they don't say anything really before the game. Like, they never really talk a lot of smack.
They didn't expect to win.
They didn't expect to win. But if they win tonight, boy, just stay off Facebook, because they'll come all out the woodwork and act like they never pretended like this game was going to have an asterisk that we won because Zion wasn't playing. That's what happened that night, and I literally got to the point where I almost shut my Facebook page down because I had to weed through all the stuff, and then I finally figured out, okay, I'll just stop it from people posting to it. But Austin Rivers is the reason why, and right now he's probably tops on my list in terms of Duke Blue Devils that I can't stand.
I understand.
Johnny O, now you're not a Carolina or a Duke fan.
That's right.
You are Syracuse affiliated.
That's right. So I'm from the outside, and I love basketball. I love watching great talent, and I'll watch. It doesn't matter what game it is. If it's going to be good talent on, and Duke has had some great talent throughout the years, obviously. So I would definitely watch that. But there's one guy that I just could not stand watching.
Usually
And that name is Grayson Allen.
Oh, fresh.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. That's I knew.
I would not watch Duke because of him. That puke face he had. Everything he did, his mannerisms.
Talk to him.
I don't even think he was that good. He was actually a very good basketball
They
player.
just sent him to the G League like a week or two ago.
Good.
Jazz.
Keep him in the G League.
Like, good.
Keep him way out. I guess he's out in Utah or something.
Yeah,
I don't get to watch him
He turned
play.
into your typical Duke player.
But he would I just could not stand watching him. So I'm going to say, there's a couple others, but Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
We could probably build a team. It can't be all Duke now. I know there's some Carolina fans. Or
Well, we'll do that. We'll do that in the second round.
Yeah.
We can't bash our own guys in the first
We need
round.
the Rod, and then I think Sawyer wants to chime in.
Well, man, I agree with you on what you said about people coming out of the woodworks whenever they win a game that wasn't expected. There was these two guys who I usually go to the gym at the YMCA with, and they're huge Duke fans. One's name is Adam, and I forgot the other guy's name. But anyway, usually when I work out, I have my Carolina gear on when I'm working out, and this guy, he came up to me and had his hands all in the air, like, what are you wearing, man? What are you wearing? This is before the first Carolina game.
Right.
He was doing it so much, I was like, what's this dude's problem? I didn't realize I had my Carolina gear on, you know?
Yeah.
And then so he finally let it be known, hey, you're a Carolina fan, I'm a Duke fan. And he talked trash. And I got to be honest with you, when we won that game, I hadn't seen him at the Y since.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him
disappeared.
not once. Yeah, he just completely got ghost. But there is one player who I hated with a capital H. He was back in the 90s. He was on that team that won the 2 NCAA championship
I know
games.
where this might be going.
He was a big whiner by the name of Bobby Hurley. I mean, now granted, he was a pretty good player. I mean, Duke retired his jersey and all that good stuff. But what I hated about Bobby, man, was he was so scrappy. Like, what I saw in him,
Yep.
I wanted in Carolina's team at
Yep.
the time. Because I think we had J.R. Reed,
Yep. The late 80s.
Kevin
early 90s.
Salvadori,
Mhm.
yeah, all those guys on our team. And they were just so, and he was so scrappy, and he chased every ball. He dived on the floor. And what I saw in him is what I wanted Carolina to be.
Is that
And I
King
think,
Rice?
yeah, I think that may have been King Rice and Rick Fox during
Yeah,
that time
yeah.
frame. That was when Duke beat the undefeated UNLV team at the time. And then they went on to beat Roy Williams' Kansas in the
Yes.
championship game. I don't know if you guys remember that or not.
I remember.
Yeah, but it was
All
that
that
team. So, I mean, Bobby Hurley, now don't get me wrong, he was a pretty decent player, but what I saw in him is what I needed from my Carolina guys that I wasn't getting. So I think that's why I hated him so much. But the biggest thing about Hurley, he was a huge whiner. He took whining to a whole nother art form.
And he's
I
still
mean-
doing it coaching. I've watched him coach
Oh,
Arizona
Oh, dude,
State.
it's
Yeah.
like he's got a
Kept up.
patent on how to whine. I don't know what this guy's problem is, man.
Sawyer.